Hello, and thank you for joining me here on Sew Stitch Hex. Today, and in honor of the new year, we are going to be doing a cord cutting. So what is this? So you do cord cutting in a variety of ways when you need to energetically cleanse yourself. You typically do it between you and one other individual, but I'm sure you can do it with a group or with a part of yourself if that's a way you wanted to go about it. But typically it will be you and another individual. And you would be severing the ties for that type of energetic link between you and them. So think of it as a cleansing the palette for growth and leaving baggage behind, leaving bad habits behind, leaving things of that sort, and negative as well as positive. It does sever that energetic connection, but it allows for new ones and new growth, and allows you to move forward and not be hung up like replaying the same things over and over again. You can do it in a variety of ways. So I know one way that I'm going to mention, I'm not going to illustrate, is to take a bath. You would use an athame or a knife. I use my athame, which you will see briefly for a moment. Basically, you would take a bath with your athame, and you would do a cleansing bath as you would. Go part by part, and basically sever the ties. And I severed all ties that I could with me and the individual. And set yourself up to be cleansed and ready. You do this with the water. You're supposed to stop the water, do a sea salt scrub, and then resume the shower. I did it a little differently. I severed the ties to allow new growth. I thanked the energy for teaching me my lessons. I thanked the energy for giving me something, some knowledge for many things, and just for the overall experience. But I thought it was time to move on and let the knowledge stay, but let the energy that ties it there to go on. And you can write it any way you want. There's not like a specific way that you have to do it. I usually pre-script and then like freeform as I go. I'm like, this is what I'm doing, but then this is what happens, because something might come to mind. I also didn't use sea salt. I used a Himalayan salt self-love bath salt with rose petals and essential oils, and did a scrub for that. And I also kept the water running and did a different prayer for each part that I got rid of. And that is essentially how you do the cord cutting cleansing bath. You visualize and picture and state the cutting of the energetic cords and of the links to the other individual. Next, you will do what's in the next part of the video, which is you can do it in conjunction, or you can do it separate. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do both. I did both because I'm like super extra. But a candle. So you get tapers that are connected by the wick. You typically see them in like the wedding stuff aisle, and you would either want white or black. Typically, I did red because to me it also symbolized the red string of fate, and it is the severing of that string of fate that ties us together, and it is severing of our energetic ties and taking away our cords, basically the little strings that connect us. And I think this is more of a final way to do it, but you don't have to do it in a finalized way. So pay attention to the video of setting up your candle. Use your athame or another blessed knife or blade, whatever you want to call it. You could use a rusty trusty screw like I do if you want. I didn't have the rusty trusty screw. I had the athame. I would show the bowline, but I didn't have my bowline because it likes to run away with itself and disappear for weeks at a time. I don't know what it's doing. I'm sure it's having fun. But, alright. See you in a second. Apart from the cord cutting bath ritual, I'm also doing a candle ceremony ritual thing. Basically, you're going to take your candles. I would have wanted black, but they had red, so I got red. And I think it works to be symbolic of the red string of fate. Next, you're going to take your athame and carve into it. Now, once you've carved your name into it, mine is going upwards. And I put on the other side, you can't see it, for their to keep them anonymous. their name is going down because my idea is I am going to be being like grown forwards and theirs is going to diminish because theirs starts here and gets smaller. Mine ends here and gets bigger. So my idea is that I will just grow from where I am. Because the idea is as it burns away our connections. And you can use it both in the way of a regular energetic cleansing that helps you keep healthy relationships and helps you not carry emotional, energetic, psychological baggage, provided you are also doing the shadow work or performing therapy, like going through therapy to make sure you are ready for this growth. Because if you do the ceremony before you're ready, you will still have some and you will basically go right back to Pepper. My dog is chewing a bone. You basically go right back to where you started. You will just like top yourself up. You'll just be at very low when you start, basically. So you have to be ready to do the work before you do it. Yay! Hello, we're back to full-size people view, kind of. I guess it's my head, so it's not just my little hands, my little nubby fingers. But, okay. So basically, that is how you would go to set up your candle. Now you say some, whatever feels right to you to cut the energetic ties between you and the individual. You don't have to do it with the directions like I did, and some people might do the directions the opposite way, but for me that made sense. I don't know if I explained it well, but for me it felt like if I was diminishing one from starting from the top versus diminishing one by starting from the bottom, one could grow up from the bottom, whereas the other one would be cut from the head. And I didn't want to cut from the head on myself. But that was just my opinion. There are different ways to do it with the lighting of the candle. So you can light it. I've thought about setting up a third candle to be myself, this to be the negative and this to be the positive, and sever the tie between the two, because sometimes you have positive traits that you have connected to a negative action or a negative experience, and you want to keep one but not the other. So I've had the idea to set up a third candle in the center to be myself and light it and let it burn through so that you could sever the tie between the two. Hopefully you would keep the one and not the other. That could be a divinatory idea. I think I did that. I said that word properly. Where you see which one goes down farther and that's the one you're going to keep more of. I don't know. That's an idea. An idea. So be careful. You can, however, do this without candles and fire. Although fire is always fun. You can take a string. Typically it'd be a red string, but really, purple could be for healing. You could do black just to be, getting rid of negativity. You could do white for purity and love of like whatever. Take the string and you could cut it with scissors symbolically. Of course, you would enchant or imbue like your intent into each thing and think of it as the cord. You are cutting the cord. You are not cutting the string. You are cutting the energetic link between you and the other individual. You don't have to carve into your candles if you don't want. You could, or the string, you don't have to write on the string somehow, like if it were ribbon or twine. You can do paper. So write down, you can make a petition paper if you want it. I think that sounds a bit much, but I mean, if you want to do a petition paper, be my guest. That is all for you. You could just put the name of the individual. I prefer first, middle, and last, because I don't want to get them mixed up with someone else. Just, getting the connections twisted. And then put it under the candle or tie it to the end of one side and tie it to the end of the other. And that is another way that you can do the cord cutting ritual. Now, this is very important because it can be done at the end of therapy when you've worked through things to make sure you have no more ties. You can do it during therapy on a regular basis. It's not something you have to do once and be done forever. You can do it just periodically to keep your energetic connections fresh and to keep them from going stale or from producing negative habits. So, these are some of the basics that I've learned and that I've heard of. Let me know in the comments below. What type of cord cutting rituals do you do? Do you say anything fancy? Do you have a specific thing? Do you think the energy for teaching you whatever lesson or karmic lesson, like life or karmic lesson, sometimes one and the same, that you learned, or do you just do it? What color candle do you prefer to use, or string? Have you ever thought of doing the cord cutting bath? And do you use your athame? Or do you not want to have it involved in the situation? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, and have a happy new year. Bye.